Hi, I'm Barbara Robbins,
And I'm Breanna Cox.
and together we are the Awakened Woman. Welcome to our podcast. Today's topic is setting career goals that feel right, balancing ambition with intuition in the workplace. You know, when I think about work, like 9 to 5 work, I don't think about intuition at all. Get
I
me
think
these
about
numbers.
throwing up.
Well, I don't I don't think about doing a 9 to 5 like
Right.
but if just the sense of what a 9 to 5 is, you're just you're making food or you're crunching numbers or you're doing sales calls, but it seems to be looking at like more concrete goals. And you could say your ambition. And especially if you're working for somebody else, you're not thinking about intuition doesn't seem to play into that. So I think it's really cool that we're looking at setting career goals that feel right because that's got to involve intuition
hmm
in addition to ambition.
You know what comes to mind is that a few episodes back when you were sharing your experience when you asked for the promotion, the raise, excuse me, and you were following your intuition, but you presented it in a very logical way. And in honoring your own boundaries, when they declined, you left and found something better, and then they actually ended up worse off. That to me is an example of balancing ambition and intuition because you were ambitious in that you weren't afraid to ask for what you knew you deserved. You weren't going to settle, but at the same time, you were following your intuition and following your own inner compass instead of what a lot of people do is they sort of bow down. They sort of feel like they're crumbling under the weight of the corporation or the system that they're under and feel like cogs in the machine or victims, and that doesn't need to be the case. We can work in the workforce and be empowered and make intuitive decisions that can be strategic in helping us meet our goals and ambitions.
Yeah, I agree. I think in this case, the way that I presented my reason for getting a raise was didn't have anything to do with intuition. What had to do with intuition was when my husband, or was he even? No, we were. I just this guy I knew. We, I think we were kind of dating. He showed me this idea of how to go in and ask for a raise, and
Right.
that was effective. And my intuition said, "Oh yeah, this feels this feels right." Is that even in one of our podcasts?
Called Ask and You Shall Receive. That's the name of the episode. I don't remember the episode number.
Okay, that's good. At least people don't have to hunt around. They just know it's ask and you'll receive. If you want to hear the story, go listen to that podcast. Okay, so not all goals are created equal. Some drain you and some light you up. So I know when I went in to ask for that raise, I it didn't like I mean the idea of how to ask for the raise lit me up, but the continuing to work there really was kind of a drain for me.
hmm
But I was in my 20s, like mid 20s. So I didn't even know what I wanted to do back then. I didn't know I was a healer. I was trained as an art teacher. I was working in a graphic design studio. So my next point here is that many ambitious women set goals based on expectations, not internet. Well, I guess I wasn't ambitious. I was just going with the flow. I didn't have expectations.
I feel like that's pretty common for young women to explore more until they start to feel that sense of urgency of, oh shit, I'm approaching 25 or I'm approaching 29, and
Hmm.
At least it was like that for me. Like I did a lot of career exploration in my 20s.
So I think that's something that's helpful for people to do is you just try a bunch of stuff and you see what you like and what you don't
Mhm.
like.
And also what feels right and what doesn't, and
Yeah.
learning to like not never feel stuck. This is something I don't know, I feel like someone needs to hear this. Never feel like you have to stay at a job. That is an old, outdated, archaic lie that I have heard people from my mother's generation usually. I don't hear it as much from like my generation or the younger generations,
Hmm.
but my mother's generation, the boomers, I've heard that a lot where, well, I just worked I didn't like my job, but I worked there because I had to. Did you really have to?
Oh
You mean to
God.
tell me there were no other jobs that you could find? It never made sense to me. It's not like you're in a country that, where you're working in a sweatshop or you're sewing in the 1800s, for 12 hours. What I'm saying? We
Oh
don't
yeah.
live in that kind of society anymore. Most of us, I'm not saying there aren't still some countries that have, these types of like challenges, but if you're living in the US especially, there's no reason why you can't find another job. It's ridiculous. And so please don't ever feel like you have to stay somewhere that you're miserable at because you have kids and you need to pay the bills or because you need to put yourself through school or whatever the reason is. And these are legitimate reasons, but that does not mean that you have to stay somewhere that's draining you, that's not benefiting you. It is
No.
possible to work at a job that you like and make good money, without having to drain yourself and work, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. So I don't know why. I just felt like the need to put that out there. Like somebody might have unconsciously taken on that
Oh, I have
subconscious
more to add to
program.
that. I have more to add to that. Um, when I was in my 20s, um, I think I changed jobs like every year or two. And it probably, well, then when I had a kid, then I stayed home. Okay, so it was before I had kids that I was changing jobs like every year or two. And what I was thinking in my head is, oh my God, I keep changing jobs every year or two. When am I going to figure out what I'm going to do and stay there for a longer time? Like I feel like I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, but then when, some years later, when I discovered energy healing and that I was good at it and that I could actually make money doing it, helping people with that. Um, I was able to completely set up my business on my own because all the different jobs that I had taught me everything I needed to know from receptionist to secretary to
Mhm.
bookkeeping, property management, um, graphic design. Um,
It was all teaching you the skill set that you needed that applied to your business later on.
exactly, exactly. It was like I was getting my master's degree in life.
Hmm. That resonates with me as well. I think that's very Gemini-like. And I think for me, the big thing was just it took me a long time to figure, not a long time, let's say it took me until I was in my late 20s to figure out that I was supposed to have my own business. Like I'm not the kind
Hmm.
of person that can work for other people. Not for a long time. Like maybe
Hmm.
for like short intervals, 6 months here, a year here, 3 years tops. I can't work for people. It's just not in my nature. So,
I have another story, of course. The job that I stayed at the longest, and my boss loved me. He said I was the best person in that role of everybody else who he's ever hired for that. And I liked working there. But I came in every morning. I opened the office every morning, and I could never. I was supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, and I could never get there on time. 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. I would stay 10 minutes after, so I would be there the whole. 8 hours, but I could not get there on time if my life depended on it. And when I look back, I think it's because I was saying, "You're not the boss of me. I'll come when I get there. I am my own boss."
I had actually read somewhere or heard somewhere that feminine energy is like that too, where it's like we're not supposed to rush and hustle like the way masculine does. Like, and it goes back to the whole hunter versus gatherer energy. And it's the same reason that men don't process information and communication the way we do. It's the same thing, but it's that whole men are about quick, decisive, like straight line A to B movements, and same thing with communication, whereas us being the gatherers, we're more collaborative, we're more creative, we're more spiral like, or, not a straight line kind of situation. And we're not supposed to really rush and hustle and stuff the way men do. You can't rush and hustle when you're gathering.
But you know what?
I
I did not rush. I can get I can wake up back then. I could from go from waking up to out the door in like 15, 20 minutes.
No, that's what I'm saying though, is like that was you being in your feminine energy even back then, even if you didn't realize that's what it was, is like it's not even just like like you said, like the thing of like I'm not gonna be, control type thing. It's also that feminine energy isn't gonna be rushed. She's gonna arrive there when she needs to, not when
Yeah.
she's
I guess I
supposed
meant
to.
that I wasn't high maintenance. I didn't have to sit there and curl my hair and hairspray it and put on a ton of makeup and make sure it was just right and iron clothes. I didn't have to do any of that. I was really low maintenance. So I could just throw my clothes up in the air and walk into them.
I really feel this alarm going off on my head. I feel like as women, we've got to stop acting like being high maintenance is, or like having to say, oh, I'm not high maintenance, right? Being minimalist and being high maintenance are two different things. And I feel like being high maintenance is a good thing because it equals being high standard and pouring into yourself at a certain level. It doesn't have to include like makeup and hair and things of that nature, but really putting a lot of energy into maintaining yourself and not accepting leftovers or accepting second rate treatment, right? So I feel like we were sort of brainwashed at an early age that being low maintenance or being the cool girl is like the way to go, and it's not. That is like something that I just wanted to say for some reason because I feel like being minimalist is awesome. Yeah. Being minimalist, like I don't, it's not, I can do simple things. I don't have to take forever to do this, or
Hmm.
I don't have to have like, 30,000 garments or whatever, or spend money on like 10 different hairsprays, stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I just feel like there's a difference between minimalism and low maintenance, and I feel like as women, we have a right to be high maintenance. It's not a bad thing, and I feel like that is like a stigmatism that was really created by men that can't afford women who are high maintenance. Just like being honest, like that's how I feel. Like I feel like, maintaining ourselves is important. And again, just to reiterate, it doesn't have to do with necessarily beauty standards or certain makeup or hair or clothes, but just pouring into ourselves and investing in ourselves. Like we can be high maintenance because we, for example, dropped $30,000 on coaching programs or on a vacation or on a new car, and that's, has nothing to make him inherit. Just saying. I just want to put that out there because I feel like that's something as women that we're kind of brainwashed into thinking like it's somehow bad, and it's not. It's a
I'm
good thing to be high
so
maintenance.
I'm so glad you brought that up and that and the concept of there's a difference between minimalism and high maintenance. I mean, I'm feeling that. Like, oh my God, I really wasn't paying any attention to myself back then. Yeah, I was fine with what I didn't want to wear a lot of makeup or anything, but
Nothing
um
wrong with that. If
yeah.
that's how you feel, like if that's what makes you feel good about yourself, I feel like that's another misnomer is like in order for us to invest in ourselves, we have to be doing this, that, and third with our beauty standards, and that's also another lie on the opposite end of the spectrum. So I feel like it goes both ways. But
Just
I
a
feel like
general,
really what it comes down to is just pouring into ourselves and investing in ourselves and not taking anything less if if or when we do have a partnership, a romantic partnership, or even when we engage with clients or family or friends, not taking any less than what we know we deserve.
yeah, the concept of self-care
Mm-hmm.
and the even exchange of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think I really, yeah, I liked that job, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. I went from being receptionist, just one person office worker, to being the office manager and assistant property manager over like 10 apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that's not that's not close to being an art teacher or an energy healer.
No, absolutely. And I've actually had, I feel like most of the jobs I've had, not all, but most of them, I did enjoy them for a period of time. That there were things about them I enjoyed, but I knew it wasn't going to be like my forever position,
Yeah.
you
Then
know?
I guess I have to remember that I was in the master's program of life that I learned. My boss was a CPA and so I had to keep the books on all 10 buildings. So I learned how to do
Wow.
accounting from him.
Woo.
And this was when everything was on paper. This was before there were computers.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot. I'm imagining it, Barbara. Holy cow.
It wasn't that horrible,
Hey.
but
I mean, I'll be honest with you, that is kind of a weird, quirky part of my personality. There's a part of me that likes paperwork, not like secretary work necessarily, but organizing things, but not to a point where I could ever do it like as like a full-time career or business or anything like that. But I do enjoy organization, cataloging, and things like that to a degree, as long as it feels like it's a creative outlet or a way for me to like put things in perspective.
I still do my business accounting on paper,
Oh shit,
on a
okay.
ledger. It's really relaxing.
I get that. Yeah.
I get to sit with a pencil and just write all the numbers. And I have to do it slowly so I can read the numbers because my handwriting is terrible if I just go. I have like doctor handwriting.
I try to make things easier where I can for myself so
Hmm.
that I can concentrate on things that I really enjoy and bring joy in. And I do enjoy like editing, for example, like our podcast or
Yeah.
editing videos for my content or creating website or tweaking my website. That type of organization and creativity I like.
Hmm.
But numbers, oh, it's like, I don't know, like I'd rather set myself on fire. Like I just can't do it. But
Well, yeah, plus you're a creative person. I am too. Creative people should not be working with numbers.
yeah, that's true.
Numbers are not creative. You can't decide 2 plus 5 equals 27 because I feel like it.
Sure, once my business reaches a certain level of success, which I know it will shortly, then I will be able to feel comfortable hiring an accountant to handle everything from start to finish, not just taxes. At this point, I'm doing it myself, but eventually I will hire someone to do that for me.
Oh, of
Um,
course. Of
because
course.
it's just a natural progression. And the more we can take off our plate as women when it comes to our careers, our businesses, so that we can concentrate on the part of it that brings us joy, where we can use our creativity and intuition, the better off we'll be.
Hey, I just had my housekeeper here today, and she was one of the first people that I hired when I began my business because all the business coaches were going, the first thing you need to do when you start getting some money is hire someone to clean your house because
I
your time
agree.
is so much more valuable.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What have been, because I haven't had a housekeeper since I was in Egypt. What is your advice for women that want to hire a housekeeper, haven't done it yet or haven't done it in a while, like what would you say, like is your advice based on your personal experience?
First, I would say, I'm so sorry that you have to find somebody that's good because there are so many people out there that are just doing it to make some money and
Hmm.
they don't know how to clean a house. Martha's been my housekeeper for like 12 years, and there have been a few times in between in that time where I've had to use somebody else. And at this point, I don't care how much I have to pay her. I'm, or until she dies, I'm not using anybody else.
I could totally, when you said it, I was like that I could feel what you were saying. Like even though I haven't had like a lot, I've had some experience with housekeepers. I haven't had a lot. I felt it. I was like, okay, totally feel what she's saying and understand exactly what she's saying.
When I started looking for her, I set up an intention of the kind of person that I wanted.
Nice.
And I wanted a combination of Alice from the Brady Bunch and Berta from Two and a Half Men.
Oh my God.
I wanted the nicest, like family member kind of caring person, but I also wanted, pick up your stuff. You need to change this. You need to take this to the dry cleaner. But the cost, it seems like it's so much. Martha's like $50 an hour. She doesn't charge by the hour. She charges by the job, but it turns out that it's $50 an hour is what it comes out to.
This is a really crazy direction we went, but maybe whoever's going to be tuning in on the podcast is gonna like needs to hear all of this. Because there's probably a lot of women out there that have their plates full that have been told, oh, I have to stay at this job even though I'm miserable, or I have to clean my house by myself even though I'm working two jobs, or whatever the case may be, or I have three kids, or whatever. And they just feel this sense of like obligation, 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 instead of that combination of intuition, like honoring themselves, intuition and self-care, and also meeting their goals and ambitions. And this is the way we do that too, is by delegating tasks that are more menial, no disrespect, but what I mean by menial, that are things that are not part of our business or our career or our immediate top priorities so that it makes space for us to do those things.
Yeah. In my wrap-up notes, it says one of the things it says is career success isn't just about doing more, it's about doing what matters.
Hmm.
Oh, you know what else I want to say? One of the reasons I started having someone clean my house was even more than just dusting and vacuuming. It's because I tend to, I'm a visual person, and it's
Hmm.
like if I can't see it, it's gone. So,
I'm the same way.
so, so, um, so I all of a sudden I have my house is like all my surfaces are covered with papers and this and that, so I can see them and remember that, oh, I have to work on this or whatever. So some people have guests over, they have parties or something every couple of weeks that forces them to clean the house. So I that forces them to clean the house themselves. But I just like having a housekeeper because one, I don't like to clean, and two, it forces me to have
Me
to straighten
neither.
up every 2 weeks.
Making space for us to concentrate on what matters for our business goals. And,
Yeah.
same thing for career goals for you ladies that have careers instead of businesses. It's the same thing. It's just, making space for you to have time for what really matters. And for those of you ladies that have kids, a nanny, part-time or full-time, same thing, or a babysitter. So whatever's gonna help free up, you know. So yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. But yes, I,
Yeah.
I do have an accountant, but just not for everything. I don't have a set financial advisor that I go to on a regular basis. It does like a portfolio for me. I have my own portfolio, but it's like automated. But again, those are definite long-term goals of mine. A lot of stuff, I think I got too comfortable for years doing everything myself. And then it's taken me a long time. I'd say over the last year and a half, 2 years, I started letting people do things for me, asking for help more, understanding that it's a good thing. And but I think that's what it is. I just had everything set up to where I was doing it all and could do it all. And now my focus has changed. My perception has changed. And so now I'm like, oh no, I want as much help as possible. Please feel free. Come on in. Help
Yeah,
out and do what you want.
totally. Totally. I want to be the princess of my business.
Exactly. Exactly. And that also, I mean, I know it's not re like directly related, it's still kind of related to what we're talking about. That's how I feel in relationships too. Like I want a provider. I want to be the princess in my relationship as well. And I'm not a 50-50 girl. And that's no shade to women who are, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not for me. So I would rather have a man that loves being a provider, that's generous with his money and takes care of all of that so that I can put the money of my business back into our finances, our investings, or fun things, and be with the kind of person that always opens the door, always takes out the chair, loves to spoil me with random gifts, wants to take me to all expensive paid exclusive trips, things like that. Like I love that. And I'm not going to settle for anything less. And I've had it before. I was married to somebody for 7 years that was like that. It didn't work out. It wasn't because of that, but that's why it was my longest relationship. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of boxes were checked. I was a very spiritual, intuitive, and nurturing person as well, but we were just on different paths. So eventually we just couldn't continue together, and that was really what it came down to. But I,
Yeah.
I definitely, it's important to know exactly what you want in your relationship, in your business, in your career, your dream goals, your soul alignment, everything, and know what you want and to be okay asking for it, to be okay asking for help. Use your intuition and don't be afraid to let go of things that don't serve you, like what Barbara and I were talking about at the beginning of the episode.
And also, these are all great tips and they're wonderful to be able to put into place. Oh, yeah, to be able to go on a date night with my husband once a week or once a month and have a babysitter. And some people can't afford the babysitter even for a
Right?
couple hours just for a break in the afternoon. Um, but don't beat yourself up about that because everything happens in perfect timing.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have to go through what you're going through for a reason.
Yes, absolutely.
And just
And
know that,
also don't give up, guys, because
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so next month we're going to be talking about strengthening female friendships, building a powerful support network. Perfect.
I'm looking forward to that one, Barbara.
Me too, as we continue to support each other.
Hmm.
Yay! And until next time, I'm Barbara,
And I'm Brianna.
and we are the Awakened Woman.